Here in problem number 89, we're basically doing the same thing that we've done, but now we get a picture, and the picture will lead us into some word problems. So basically, when you see a picture, you've got to know what these things are, what the parts of the circle are, what the parts of the picture are. S is the length of that arc from one end of the angle to the other end. 70 degrees is the measure of the angle, which we notice is in degrees. It needs to be in radians for us to use any of the formulas. And then 12 would be the length of the radius. So let's first go ahead and convert that 70 degrees to radians. And we want to make sure we understand our unit circle, but if we do know our unit circle, we would realize that 70 degrees is not one of the main angles that we have memorized what the degree in radian measures are. So the one thing we can do here is just multiply again by pi over 180, but 10 goes into 77 times, and 10 goes into 180 18 times. So the best we're going to be doing here is, again, the degrees cancel. So we have 7 pi over 18 radians. So that's the measure of theta, and that's an important one, again, because we can't use the formulas unless we have theta in radians. So we know that the sector length, S, is r times theta, which r is 12 and theta is 7 pi over 18. And we can see we can cancel here. 6 goes into 12 twice. 6 goes into 18 3 times. And we get 2 times 7 pi is 14 pi. And over 3, so we have 14 pi over 3. Now what did we find? We found the length of the arc. And did it give, oh, it gave us yards. Sorry, I didn't put that. So since the radius is measured in yards, the arc length will be measured in yards. And we'll put 14 pi over 3 yards. If you wanted to plug that into your calculator, you could, but that's the exact value that you would get. Now we can go ahead and do the same thing in terms of using a formula. We'll use the formula for the area of the sector. So we know the formula for the area of the sector is 1/2 r squared theta. So we keep the r, we keep the 1/2. We're going to square the radius, and then we'll multiply by the measure of the angle, 7 pi over 18. Then we just have to simplify. What I like to do is I like to keep my numbers small, so I'm going to write all the factors of the numerator up there, and then I'm going to write the factors in the denominator down here, and then I'm going to go ahead and cancel. Instead of making out a 144 and then canceling, we can easily, like I said, keep the numbers smaller and make our work a little bit easier. So 6 goes into, oops, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 12 6 times. 6, then we can see 6 goes into both 12 and 18. 6 goes into 12 2 times and into 18 3 times. Now this 3 can go into that 6 right there. So yeah, you could have done this differently. I probably could have, but this is the first thing I saw. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. And now all we're left with in the numerator is a 2, a 7, and a pi. And then down here we just have 1 and a 1. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 7 is 28, and then we have that pi right there, so we have 28 pi. And what are we finding? We're finding area, so we're going to need to include our units of measure as square units. And again, the radius is measured in yards, so we would have 28 pi square yards. That would be our area of the sector.